In this video, I am going to take you through the steps on how to complete the level 2 coding summative, the Among Us game. It's going to be a little bit glitchy. So I'm not perfect at making games, but it's a functioning game. So when you click the green flag, your arrow keys, usually I jump first because then I stay on the platform. You have to avoid that laser, and then you can't let the imposter touch you. If the imposter touches you, you go back to start. And then if you touch the laser, it didn't go back to start. But here you're going to jump on this box. You have to avoid this little guy, jump over him. If you touch the laser, it's not working, but it's supposed to take you back to start. I will fix that game so it works, but that's the basic premise of this game, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. You should open Scratch, log in if you need to. So you need to download the sprites for the main player and imposter, and you're going to do that right here. So if you click on main player here, and I haven't done this yet. I should have had this done, but I didn't. So just bear with me. I'm going to click the download arrow in the top left corner, or top right corner, excuse me, and it's going to download that sprite. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the imposter. I'm going to click on the imposter here. And I am going to, as soon as it comes up, I'm going to click on the download arrow in the top right again. And that will download both of those sprites, okay? So once Scratch is open, we're going to name this Among Us. You're going to delete your cat sprite. So let's name this. And I'm going to name it Among Us Video. And then I'm going to delete my cat sprite here. And then I'm going to just keep going here. And then I'm going to, we're going to upload those sprites. So we're going to, I don't know why I'm not using my mouse. That's crazy. Let me close this. We're going to click on this little cat where it says choose a sprite. You're going to go to the upload sprite right here. And hopefully in your downloads folder, you will see imposter and main player. So I'm going to hold my control key because when I hold control, I can click on both of them at the same time. So did you notice that? Click one, click the other. They're both blue. I'm going to click open and it should import both of them. I'm just going to switch the order because I want my main player to be first. But the nice thing about importing these is if you go over to costumes, you're going to see that there are a whole bunch of costumes that come along with it. So showing the little guy walking, okay? So let's see what else we have to do here. All right, float our mouse over the choose a backdrop button in the bottom right. We're going to paint. We're going to click the rectangle button, change our color to black or a really dark gray, and we're going to color the whole canvas, okay? So float your mouse over, create a backdrop in the bottom right corner here. Go to the paintbrush. Click on your rectangle button here on your toolbar. Instead of purple, we're going to change the color to like a really dark gray, or you can go black if you want. And then I'm going to zoom out to make sure I get the whole canvas. I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle to color my background. Okay, and that's the whole getting started part. So now we're going to move on. And we're going to code to make the main player move. So we're going to select the main player sprite. We're going to go to events and when a green flag is clicked. And let's start with that. So I'm going to click on my main player down here. I'm going to go to code in the top left. I'm going to go to events and choose when green flag is clicked. Okay. And then we're going to do 3 motion blocks in a row. So set rotation, point and direction, and XY. Okay. So I'm going to go to motion. And if you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see, where is it? We want set rotation style. There it is, way down at the bottom. Set rotation style to left, right. Okay. We want to point them in direction 90 degrees. And then we're going to do the go to XY. And I'm going to go back because I want to show you what I wrote. So it says for the X position, we're going to use -220. Okay. Because -220 is going to take him pretty far to the left of the stage. So -220. And then I'm going to go back and it says for the Y position, we're going to drag our main player sprite to the height of the stage you want it to be when the game starts. Okay, we haven't made our stage yet. So right now, we're just going to leave this the way it is, and then we may have to adjust his height later, okay, once we draw our stage, okay? All right, so then we're going to click control and we're going to do a forever loop. And inside the forever loop, we're going to do an if then. So we're going to go to control, we're going to do a forever loop, and then we're going to do an if then. By the way, these 3 right here are our resets, right? That's how we want him to be in the location we want him to be when the game starts. And that's why we did those blocks. Okay, so between if then, we're going to need something in the hexagon here. So it says between if and then, we're going to go to motion and choose when right arrow key is pressed, because we're going to use our right arrow for him to move right and left arrow for him to move left. So you know what? It's not in motion, it's in sensing. It's in sensing. Key space press, but instead of space, we are going to change this to right arrow. So I'm going to have to fix that in the instructions. Okay. Yeah, so this is not motion right here. This should be sensing, okay, when right arrow pressed. And then inside the if then block, we're going to go to motion. We're going to point him in 90 degrees in our direction. We're going to go to looks and switch our costume, okay? So inside this block, let's go to motion. And we're going to, again, say point and direction 90 degrees. We're going to go to looks. And we're going to switch costume to, but instead of jump, we want it to be walk. So choose walk right at the top. And then we're going to do a repeat block. So it says here, click control and choose repeat 10, but instead of 10, we're going to change it to 8. And then we're going to do looks, next costume, and then we're going to do emotion. So we're going to do all of those. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, let me just check. We're going to go to control. We're going to do a repeat 10, and that's going to go right below switch costume. But instead of 10, I want you to change that number to 8. And then we're going to go to motion. And I want you to scroll down and find where it says change X by 10 and put that inside the repeat. But instead of 10, we're going to do 5. And then we are going to go to looks and we're going to go to next costume. And that's going to make him switch his costume. Okay. So if I press the right arrow key, he looks like he's walking to the right. Okay. So that's what we just did. Okay. We're basically going to duplicate this for the left arrow. So it says, we're in step 7. Duplicate the code for left arrow by doing the following. So if I right click on the word if here, I can duplicate and it gives me this set of blocks. I'm going to place it under here. So it's going to be under the previous if then, but inside the forever loop. Now it's not going to be perfect because we have to make some changes. We don't want to have a code for right arrow and then code for right arrow. So we're going to switch this right arrow to left arrow. And then we know that right goes positive and right is positive, left is negative. So our change X needs to be a -5. And 90 degrees goes this way. So in point and direction, we want them to turn. So we're going to do a -90 degrees. Okay. And that is all shown right here. So now let's test it out with our right and left arrow keys. So oops, let's hit flag, right arrow, he moves to the right, he looks like he's walking, left arrow, he turns left, and he looks like he's walking. Okay, so it works, yay, okay, perfect. All right, so that's that code. We are moving on to adding the code to have the main player start again if he touches the imposter. So eventually we're going to have, if he touches the imposter, he has to go back to start. So we're going to stay in the same set of code and we're just going to keep adding. So inside the forever loop above, the one we just used, click control and choose another if then. So we're going to go to control and we're going to grab an if then and we're going to place it. Okay, see how if you look, there are 3 orange kind of closing bars here. The first one is for the if then statement. The second one is for the forever loop. Is that right? Let me see. If then. Oh no, I'm sorry. The first one is for the repeat 8. The second one is for the if then. So we want this if then to go between the second and the third, like right there. So it's kind of tucked in between these 2 bars. Okay. So that's really important to get it in the right place. Between the if then, we're going to go to sensing and we're going to say touching mouse pointer, but instead of mouse pointer, we're going to choose imposter. So let's go to sensing. Let's go to touching mouse pointer and put it in the hexagon. But instead of mouse pointer, we're going to do imposter. If he's touching the imposter, what's going to happen? Okay, what's going to happen if he touches the imposter? Inside the if then block, we're going to go to events and we're going to say broadcast message. And we're going to make a new message called start again. Okay, so we're going to go to events. And if you scroll to the bottom, you get broadcast message 1. But instead of message 1 on this drop down, you're going to click new message. And we're going to say start again. Start again. And then we're going to click OK. All right, going back. Step 3 says click motion and choose go to XY. Use the same XY positions as you used in step 5 above. So we're going to go to motion. We're going to go to XY. We're going to put that inside the if-then statement. Our X location is negative 220. We might have to change Y later, but we're going to leave it at negative 110 for right now. So negative 220, negative 110. So negative 220 and negative 110 is already there. So we're good with that. Okay, where was I? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, inside the forever loop, but below the if-then block, click Control and choose another if-then. So again, we're going to do another if-then, and we're going to place it the same way. So it's going to go below or in between those two bottom bars. Okay. Between the if-then, we're going to go to operators and we're going to choose greater than. So let's go to the green operators, find circle greater than 50 and put it in the hexagon. And then in the first one, we're going to go to motion and put in X position. So I'm going to go to motion. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to find X position, and I'm going to put it in the first one. And then we want it greater than 210. It's going to get us pretty far onto the right side of the stage. Okay. So what's going to happen if we do that? All right. So inside the if-then block, we're going to go to events. We're going to broadcast a message. We're going to click message 1 and choose new message. We're going to do next level. Okay. So let's go to events, scroll down, and say broadcast message 1 and put that inside the if-then. Instead of message 1, I want you to do a new message. And I think I said next level. Next level is what you're going to type. And you're going to click OK. And then it's going to tell us use the same XY block, use the same XY positions as above. So I'm going to just right click on this block. I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to place this underneath broadcast. Okay. And again, we may have to change these Y positions at some point, but as of right now, we're going to leave it, okay? All right. Create the ground. We probably should have done this earlier. Float your mouse over, choose a sprite in the bottom right, and choose paint. So we're going to go to choose a sprite. We're going to go to paint. We're going to click on the rectangle button again, which we already have. Okay. And change our color to a dark gray. Draw a rectangle across the bottom of your drawing canvas. So make it a little bit lighter than your previous one, because you do want to be able to see it, but still make sure it's a dark gray. Okay, so maybe I'm going to go a little bit lighter there. I'm going to zoom out so I can see my whole canvas, and I'm going to draw a rectangle just going across the bottom. Okay, so it's just something simple like that. I'm going to make it a little flatter. Okay, and this color is really maybe too, well, I'm going to leave it. It might be too light, but I'm going to leave it anyway. And then I'm going to go on my stage, and I'm going to hold my mouse over here, and I'm just going to drag it so it is in the right position. And that looks good. And what we can do, I moved it up a little so it looks like the little guy standing on him, because then I don't have to move his Y position in my code. Okay. Another thing you could do is, whoops, ooh, I did not mean to do that. Let's undo that. I think this will work. I haven't done this, but I can always put this in the center and then just drag this where I want it. And then I know everything. It always works better, I think, when sprites are in the center. So maybe that was part of my glitchiness, is not having that in the center. We're going to name this level 1. So up here under costume 1, I just put L1 for level 1. And then we're also going to name this sprite levels. So down here underneath the stage where it says sprite 1, backspace that away and type levels. Okay. We're not done with this level though, just to make it look a little fancier. What I did was I clicked on the rectangle button again, and I went darker. And then I made like little squares inside here. So I kind of went, I just did a little square. And then I did Control C to copy it, Control V to paste. And I dragged this little square next to it. And then I did another Control V, and I dragged this little square. And another Control V. And I just kind of kept doing that until I had a bunch of squares going across. And what I could do if I want is I can hold Shift, and I can select all of those and do Control C, Control V. And then look at it. It says 4. Oops. Oh, and then of course I messed it up. Control Z. See if it'll let me move them all at the same time. Yay. And then it looks like I'm going to need one more. So now I just have to do another, oops, copy, Control C, Control V. And now I have squares going across. And unfortunately, they didn't spread out the way I wanted them to. So, oh well. Do I want to do one more? Do I want to leave it? I think I should try to make them look a little nicer, right? And look at, they're not even on the same level. Why am I so bad at art? I wonder. I want to try to squeeze one more in. Oh gosh, this is a disaster. Look at how unlevel these are. I wish there was a way that we can align them, but there is not. As far as I know, there's not an align in Scratch. Not perfect by any means, but good enough for what we're doing right now. I'm sorry, it's so bad, but it's not horrible. All right, so we did that. We did that. We did that. We did that. All right, we did all of that. All right, so now we're going to create the code for the levels to reset and switch. So we're going to click on our level sprite down here. So make sure it's selected and go to your code tab in the top left. We are going to go to events and choose when the green flag is clicked. We're going to go to looks and switch costume and then go to motion. Okay, so let's start with events and let's say when green flag is clicked. And then we are going to go to looks and we're going to say switch costume to L1, which means that we always go back to level, because we're going to make a second level. We'll always go back to level 1 when the game starts. And we're going to say point and direction 90. Okay, and we're good with that. Okay, now we have to do this new one, start a new thread of code. We're going to go to events and say when I receive next level. So instead of when green flag, scroll down and say when I receive next level. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the next costume because we're going to have a second level in here. We're going to make that in a little bit. So I'm going to go to looks and I'm going to say next costume. And then we're going to have one more thread. We're going to go to events and choose when I receive start again. We're going to go back to our original costume and we're going to point in direction. Okay, so let's go to events. And when I receive, instead of next level, when I receive start again, and we're going to kind of copy this code here. We're going to switch costume to L1 and we're going to point in direction 90. Okay, so that's going to be the only code we do on levels. Okay, we are going to still have to create our level 2 board in a minute, but right now that's the only code we need. Okay, so create code for the player to jump. Okay, so I should have mentioned this, but we need to go back to our main player first, and we're going to start with green flag, and we're going to do a forever loop. So click on your main player again. I'm going to go over to mine here because I like to have mine open on the side. Uh-oh, I just deleted my sprite. Let's restore that. Oh, that would not be a good move, would it be? All right, events. When green flag is clicked. I'm going to move this up because we have lots of stuff here. So we're doing the one on the right here. And then I'm going to go to control and I'm going to do a forever loop. And let's see what's going to be inside of there. Inside the forever loop, we're going to do an if then. And then between the if then, we're going to do a not. Okay, so let's stick with our control and grab an if then and put it inside the forever loop. And then we're going to go to the green operator circle and we're going to choose the not down here at the bottom. And we're going to put that inside the hexagon. And then let's see what's going to go in there. Okay, inside the not, we're going to go to sensing and say touching mouse pointer, but instead of mouse pointer, we're going to do level or levels. So let's go to sensing. Let's grab the top block that says touching mouse pointer and put it inside the hexagon. But again, instead of mouse pointer, we're going to click the down pointing arrow and choose levels. Okay, and then we're going to do a repeat until. So inside the if then block, we're going to go to controls and do repeat until, and then we're going to do sensing and say touching levels. So let's go to control, scroll down and find repeat until, put that inside the if then block. Inside this hexagon, we're going to go back to sensing. We're going to take that top block again, touching mouse pointer, and put it in the hexagon. Instead of mouse pointer, you're going to choose levels. Okay, so when the green flag is clicked forever, if it's not touching the levels, repeat until it is touching the levels, and then what are we going to do? Then we have to, let's see, between levels. We're going to make a variable. So we're going to click on variables, choose make a variable. We're going to name it Y, and we're going to click OK. And let's do that first. So let's go to variables, click variables down here, go to make a variable at the top, type the letter Y, and click OK. Okay, we're going to go to the blue motion category, and we're going to say change Y by, make sure you do change Y, not set Y. I almost grabbed the wrong one. Change Y by, and then inside here, you're going to change it by the variable we just made. We have a lot of variables. We don't need any of these. If you want to delete them, you can. but here's the y down here, and we're going to put that in that little circle. So change y by y, and then we're going to stick with variables, and I want you to grab the change. Mine says end code, yours might say something else. By 1, put that in right underneath that change y, but instead of end code, you're going to say find the letter y right here. And we are going to change y by -1. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the instructions. And now we're going to be on step 4. Inside the forever loop, we're going to add another if-then block. So again, make sure it's not inside this current if-then. Make sure it's just in the forever loop. So I'm going to grab if-then. I'm going to place it between the two little bars at the bottom. So it's only inside forever and nothing else. And then we are going to inside here. We want them to jump. We're going to use the up arrow key to jump. So we're going to go to sensing, and we're going to put if the up arrow key is pressed. So let's go to sensing. And let's say key space pressed and put that in the hexagon. But instead of space, I want you to choose up arrow. Okay. And then how high do we want them to jump? Well, let's go to variables. I want you to do set the variable to 0. But instead of encode, I want you to say y. And then I did 15, which is kind of a high jump. You can always adjust this number if you don't want them to jump as high, or if you want them to jump higher, you can have it change this number to higher. And then we're going to go back to motion again and find that change y value and put that under set. And we're going to do change y by y again. Oops. So go to variables and grab the y and put it in the circle. And then again, we're going to grab our change block, our variable block, but instead of change encode, we're going to change y. And once again, we're going to use -1. And now we're going to test it out to see if he can actually jump, okay? So right arrow, he moves right. Left arrow, he moves left. Up arrow, oh, he jumps. And if you hold the right arrow and up arrow, then he can move and jump too. So that is working the way we want it to work, okay? So you should test yours also. And if it's not working, you can check your code, okay, and see if there is anything that you notice that you did wrong, okay? All right, moving on. Coding the imposter. It's about time we got to the imposter, right? Okay, so we're going to click the imposter to select it. We're going to go to events and choose green flag. So let's start with that. And I'm going to go to my imposter over here. Okay, imposter. And we're going to start with when green flag is clicked. And we're going to go to blue motion. And we're going to say go to an XY position. Now let's go look back at the instructions to see where he's supposed to go. All right, so it says for the X position, switch your level to level 2. We did not draw level 2 yet. We are going to have to draw level 2. Where is my instructions on drawing level 2? Did I totally miss it? Did I not copy and paste it? Oh gosh, here it is right here. Create the level 2 costume. I totally missed it, you guys. Right below the ground. Let's go back and do that right now, okay? So let's go back. We're going to click on the level sprite, and we're going to go to the costumes tab. We're going to right click on level 1, and we're going to duplicate it. Okay, so let's start that first. I can't believe I missed that. I'm so sorry. So click on levels over here. Go to costumes in the top left. Right here where it says L1, I want you to right click and duplicate. Okay, and then if we go back, we're going to click our selection arrow on the toolbar, which is the little arrow. Click on the rectangle we drew. So we're going to click on that long rectangle, not any of the little squares, and we're going to copy and paste it. Okay, so I have my arrow selected, my light gray rectangle down here. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to do Control C, Control V. You also have copy and paste up here if you want to use those, but I'm going to Control C, Control V. I'm going to drag this so it's above the first one. I'm going to grab my sizing handle, and I'm going to change it so it's like a square. This is going to be a box that he jumps on. So, and then I'm going to move it about 1/3 of the way over. I'm going to copy and paste one of these again. So Control C, Control V. I'm going to drag this maybe about 2/3 over, or maybe over here. Okay. And notice where they're located on the stage. So you can move them up here, or you can drag them on the stage and move this one down a tiny bit. And you can have them move over wherever you want to position them. Maybe move this over just a little. And then what I think I'm going to do, just to make it look a little nicer, I'm going to copy one of these little squares, and paste it and put it inside here. And then I'm going to paste again and whoops, put it inside here. And then I have my level 2 sprite done. And now we have boxes here for our level 2. Well, that changes a lot. Now we can actually do the rest of it. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that. So now we can go back down to the imposter. Okay, so I'm going back to the imposter now. So I'm going to click on the imposter. I'm going to go back to code in the top left corner. And let's go back to what we were doing. All right, so we click the imposter. Okay, so for the exposition, switch your level to level 2 so you can see the boxes on the stage. So make sure you do that. Drag your imposter so it's just to the right of the second box, and then we're going to record that exposition. So I want you to take, our imposter's not even showing. Holy guacamole. Here's our imposter right here, show hide. Can everyone go ahead and click on this little eyeball so we can see our imposter? Here he is way up here. We're going to drag him just to the right of the second block. So maybe like right here. And then we're going to look at the exposition. I'm going to move him down a little so he's touching the ground. Here's the exposition right here, 174. So up here, I'm going to put 174. And then it says, for the Y position, drag your imposter to the height you want him on the stage and record that. So I like where he is right now. I might move him up just a little. And I'm going to put him at -114 for my Y. And yours might be a little different, and that's okay. It depends on how big your stage is, right? Okay, click looks. We're going to change color effect by 25 because we don't want them to be red. So we're going to go to looks. We're going to scroll down a little bit, change color effect by 25. And let's keep going. Click motion. We're going to set rotation style to left, right, and then we're going to do a forever loop. So go to motion. We're going to scroll down a little bit, set rotation style to left, right. Then I'm going to go to control and I'm going to grab a forever loop. We're going to go back to motion. We're going to point him in direction 90. And we're going to switch costume. And this is going to sound a little funny, but we're going to switch costume to costume 10. So you have to scroll way up to the top. And the reason I'm choosing 10 is for some reason when the sprites are brought in, 10 is the first one. So when he's walking, this is the first position I want. And then we're just going to move down the list. Okay, so that's why we're having 10 in as our costume. Okay. And then we're going to repeat this. So go to control. I want you to grab a repeat 10. Okay. I want you to put that underneath switch costume. So tuck it in there. And instead of 10, we're going to repeat 8. Okay. We want him to move back and forth, which is our x-axis. So I want you to go to motion and I want you to scroll down and say change x by. Make sure you do not do y. Make sure it's x. We'll leave 10. Then we're going to have a very little pause. So let's go to control and go to wait 1 second. But instead of 1 second, let's do 0.1 seconds. That's going to be really fast. And then he's going to switch costumes. So then his little legs will be moving really fast. So it looks like he's running. Okay. So go to looks and choose next costume and put it underneath wait 0.1 seconds. And right now he's going in the right direction. So when we want him to go left, see we have a point 90 degrees. We need him to point -90. So go to motion. Grab a point or grab the point in direction 90 block. I want you to put this outside of repeat, but inside the forever loop. So notice I'm placing it between the two bars down here. And instead of 90, let's make this -90. That'll make him go the other direction. Okay. We're going to have him switch his costume again to costume 10. So let's go to looks. And let's go to switch costume to costume 10. Okay. And then we're going to do another repeat block. So let's go back to control. Do a repeat 10. Again, I'm putting it under switch, but inside the forever loop. 10 is going to be 8. Now we need him to go the other direction. So we're going to do a change x by -10. So find change x by 10. But instead of 10, I want you to type a -10. We're going to wait the 0.1 seconds again. So go back to control. Grab a wait 1 second. But instead of 1, again, we want his legs to move really fast. So we're going to say 0.1. And then he's going to go to the next costume again. So go to looks and go to next costume. And let's go ahead and hit our green flag and look at our guy moving back and forth. Okay, so he's going back and forth and you see his little legs moving. So it looks like he's walking. So that's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and stop that. And that took us all the way through that top part of coding the imposter to move. Now we're at the part that says create a new thread to place the imposter in the right position for level 2. Okay, so we're going to go to events and we're going to say when I receive next level. So go to events and say when I receive next level. And then I said, go click motion. And we're going to do that same go to XY block. So grab the go to XY. And then what are we going to put in there? For the X position, I want you to make sure you have level 2 showing on your stage so that you can see it. I have level 1. So I'm going to click on my level sprite. I'm going to go up to costumes. I'm going to click L2 so that I can see my level 2. Okay. And then it says drag the imposter so it is between the 2 boxes. So I'm going to take him and I'm going to drag him so he is between the 2 boxes. Okay. And I'm going to record those positions. So I'm going to go back to code. And notice my X position is 5. So I'm going to put that in as 5. And then my Y position, I'm just going to use my same Y that I used up here, which is negative 114. And there we go. So now when I get to level 2, I don't know if let's see if it'll work. No, we're not ready yet. We don't have our thing switching yet. So we'll have to test it out in a little bit. But let's just hope that it works. And we're going to move on to creating our laser. Okay. So we're going to float our mouse over, choose a sprite in the bottom right, and we're going to go to paint. We're going to use our rectangle button. So let's go to paint. Let's click on our rectangle button. We're going to go not dark black, so make it a little bit lighter. Kind of look in the like grayish category maybe. And we're going to draw a small rectangle. So what I did here, if you notice, I said change your color to a shade of gray similar to the one you used for your level rectangle. You're going to draw a rectangle in the center of the drawing canvas that is about 12 pixels long and 6 pixels high. That's pretty small. So I zoomed way in, and then I kind of counted. So I kind of went like, I'm going to go up one more. And I counted my pixels as I was drawing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 6 down. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about that size. It has an outline on it. I am going to redo this. I'm going to my outline color and I'm saying no outline, which is this red line right here. It takes away the outline. I'm going to redraw it. So I'm going to go here and let's just try this again. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's not exact, it's okay. I'm going to use my arrow key here. I'm just going to grab this and center it. I always like my sprites to be centered. Did I call this anything? Yes, I called it laser box because this is what my laser is going to be shooting out of. So laser box. And then let me get this out of the way. I'm going to switch my level so I can see level 2 on my screen. And I'm going to take this box. I'm going to try to place it up here so that the laser comes out when I'm kind of above the box. So kind of move it so it's above the box right there. Okay. And we'll go back to this and the laser box. Float your mouse over. Okay, we're going to choose another sprite. So now we're going to make our laser and we're actually going to make it like a dot. So this is going to be pretty cool. So we're going to float our mouse over the sprite, choose the sprite again. We're going to go to paint again. Okay, we're going to choose the paintbrush this time. Instead of 10, I want you to change your size to 1. I want you to zoom in and directly over that little center mark, I just want you to click and make a dot. And you're going to call this laser. It doesn't matter what we call the costume. You know what? I need to go back. Let's go back to code. Down here, where this one says sprite 1 on our laser box, right here, I want you to call this laser box. Okay, because we need to name our sprite laser box. And then my little dot is kind of hidden over here, but I'm going to click on that. And instead of sprite 2, I want you to call that laser. Okay, so now I just name them. All right. So that's that section. We are almost done. Okay, create code for the laser blast. Okay, we're going to start. So we're going to be on this little dot. Okay, I'm going to switch mine here. We're going to start with a green flag and a forever loop. So let's go to events and say when green flag clicked. Let's go to control and choose a forever loop. Okay, we want it to show up. So let's go to looks and scroll down and choose show. All right, so now we're going to use something we never used before. We are going to create a new category of code blocks. So we're going to click Add Extension in the bottom left corner and choose Pen. So down here in the bottom left, this little blue button right here, if you click on it, it has other things or categories that you can add to Scratch. We're going to add the pen. So I want you to click on Pen. And then I'm just going to have you just follow along with these blocks, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is take an erase all and place it inside underneath show. Then I want you to do a pen up and put that under erase all. Okay. Now we're going to go to blue motion and we're going to say go to right here where it says random position, but instead of random position, it's going to go to the laser box because we want this little dot to be shooting out of the laser box. Okay. Let's go back to pen down here at the bottom. Now it's below my blocks. And I want you to do set pen color to. And then you're going to choose whatever shade. I used red, but whatever color you want your laser to be is what I want you to make this. Okay, so whatever color you want your laser to be. Okay, and then we're going to have it go a little bit transparent. So where it says change pen color by 10, instead of color, I want you to click the down pointing arrow and choose transparency. Instead of 10, I want you to choose 50. That's going to lighten it. And then we're going to set our pen size. So find the very bottom block says set pen size to 1. We're going to leave it at 1. Then we're going to put our pen down so it stops writing. But we're not done. Now we have to hide our laser because we have to have an opportunity for our main player to actually get past the laser. And if it never gets hidden, it's going to be awfully difficult. Okay, so we're going to hide it. Then we're going to wait 1 second. So let's go to control and let's wait 1 second. Okay, so that's that part. Now we're going to repeat this a bunch of times. So I'm going to scroll down a little. I want you to go to control again and do repeat 10. Put that underneath, wait 1 second, but still inside your forever loop. Okay. We need the laser to shoot down. Up and down is our Y axis. So let's go to motion and let's say change Y by, make sure you're using change Y by. And in the box, I'm going to have you put minus 225. And this may need to be adjusted. This is how far down your laser is going to shoot. Okay. Then we want it to go back up. So I'm going to do a change Y by, and I'm going to do positive 225. And again, those numbers might have to be adjusted. We're going to have to test our laser and see if it comes down the right amount. Okay. I'm going to go to pen again. And now I'm going to change my pen size by 2. It'll make it actually the laser be thicker if we change our pen size. And then finally, we're going to have it go pretty fast. So coming down pretty fast and expanding pretty fast. So instead of 1 second, I'm going to put 0.1. All right, I'm going to test out this laser. So let me hit the green arrow. And there's my laser. It expands. It goes away. There's my laser. It expands. It goes away. And I think that's working pretty well. So we're going to leave it for right now. Okay. All right. Let's go back here. So I did all of that. So, oh, look at, we're on our last part. Create code to reset the main player if it touches the laser. So we're going to select the main player. We're going to go to events and say when green flag is clicked, and we're going to do a forever loop. So let's go back to our main player. I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to go to events. I'm going to say when green flag is clicked. I'm going to go to control. I'm going to add a forever loop. And let me switch over here. And then we're going to do an if then inside the forever loop. And we're going to say if it's touching the color red, then we have to go back to our starting location. So let's go to sensing and do the second block that says touching color. Now, in order to match the red of our laser, we need to click the color picker button down here in the bottom. Okay, when I click that, I'm going to float my mouse over the red. And notice when the circle becomes red, I know I'm over the right color. I'm going to click my mouse and it automatically puts that color in here. It has to be exact. If it's not exact, you can't just move these and hope you're getting the right color. It has to be exact, okay? Now we're going to go to a go-to block, go to XY, and we need to put in the same XY position that you see up here. So negative 220, negative 110, and it works. Okay, let's see if it works. Oh my goodness, I'm nervous. Okay, so here goes my little guy. If he touches the laser, it didn't go back. Oh, yes, he did. Okay, boy, it's just laggy. It's probably laggy because I'm recording. Then I got to try to jump over the imposter without hitting the laser. I jump on the box. Try to, oops. Yeah, it seems to be working. It's just when it did start back at the beginning. So it's really laggy, but it is working. Thank goodness. Okay, if you haven't saved, you should be saving periodically, but do a save now. You're going to go to C project page over here. You do need instructions. So I do have some instructions here on step 4. If you want to copy and paste these, use the left and right arrow keys to move your player and the up arrow to jump, avoid the imposter and the laser. I can copy that. I can go back here. I can paste that in the instructions. You're going to share this. After you hit share, you're going to click copy link, and you're going to copy and paste this link into Canvas, okay? Whew, that was a lot. Good luck with this. Hopefully you don't have any issues, okay?